See, you may or may not know, but I've worked with quite a lot of people on private mentoring. I work with executives, I work with teachers, I work with dating coaches, I work with filmmakers, I work with actors, I work with all sorts of individuals. I work with guys that work in factories, with guys that work in offices, all sorts of people that invest in themselves. And who are really interested in finding out who they are. And of course my job is to try and help them identify who they are by first of all identifying who they're not. So we help them to kind of search through who they're not, and that's obviously that's obvious, please excuse me, if somebody's angry or somebody's excessive or somebody's cynical or gossipy, it's quite easily to identify those and say, well, that's not who you really are. There's no confidence or self-esteem in that. So we help them to identify who they are by working their way through who they're not. In Christian theology, they call it apopathic theology, and it basically means we identify where God is by identifying where He's not, or we identify who our authentic self is by identifying what is not authentic. And I know for me, when I was violent, that's not who I was. When I was angry, that was not who I was. When I was jealous, that's not who I was. When I was cynical, that is not me. When I was gossipy, that was not me. When I was excessive, that was not who I am. These were all programs and parts of my conditioning. These were all kind of errors or sin. The word sin means to lack knowledge. These were me acting from a place of no knowledge. I didn't know who I was. I didn't have the intelligence to be able to say, these things do not serve me. All of these vices don't serve me. In fact, they do the opposite. They diminish me. So I was able to locate who I was by identifying brutally, with brutal honesty, doing a brutal and a ruthless inventory of who I'm not. Looking in the mirror and going, yeah, I'm fat, I'm overweight, I'm greedy, I'm a bully, I'm jealous, I'm angry, I'm insecure, I'm violent. If Jesus was around today, I'm sure there would have been a 13th commandment just for me at that particular time when I did that inventory. And that was me looking in the mirror and being really honest and saying, let's have a look at who you're not. And the moment you identify who you're not, you're able to start identifying who you are. Because of course, who is it that's identifying it? Who is the one with the brutal honesty? Who is the one with the x-ray vision that can look in the mirror and say, that's not who I am? Who is it that can observe himself bullying his wife, his own wife, and say, that's not me? So when you're cuddling up to your wife and it becomes apparent that she doesn't want sex, and you turn over in a huff and slam doors and give her a cold back in bed, and you bully her, basically what you're saying when you do that is that until you give me sex, I'm going to withdraw my love, I'm going to withdraw my attention. So when you start looking at the subtleties of bullying, you start saying, that's not who I am, that's not who I want to be, that's not coming from a place of love, that's not coming from a place of service. You automatically then, once you identify who you're not, you're automatically able to start working on dissolving that shadow or that pain body. So you say, okay, next time that urge to slam doors and to bully, let's give it its real name. Let's not mess around. Let's give it its real name. Next time that rises up, I won't identify with that. I won't engage with that. I won't feed that. I'll do the opposite. When that rises up, I'll engage love. I'll engage consideration. And have a guess what? When you do that and you work from a place of love, of course, you get everything you want anyway. And whether you get it or not, you don't care, because you're working from a place of love. So we identify who we're not. When we identify who we're not, we're able to recognize that the part of us that is identifying it and saying that's not me would be our authentic self. So we feed and strengthen our authentic self. We throw wood on that fire, and the part that is not us, we withdraw fuel, we withdraw attention, we withdraw the stories, we withdraw any kind of indulgence with it. But that takes brutal honesty and a ruthless inventory, and often it means working with somebody who can see it more than you can see it. We're with ourselves 24 hours a day, and we're so used to covering these old parts of ourselves, these negative parts of ourselves, with with buffers and defense mechanisms that we don't even know they're there. But you start working with a good shaman, or you start working with a good mentor, and you say to him, please show me who I'm not. He will say, this is what I see. Not from a place of judgment, but from a place of instruction. And not from a place of unkindness, but from a place of love, and will help you to start to dissolve who you're not and collect all that energy in and bring it into the one place that you are, the authentic self. So once you get to that place of the authentic self, you can start working all the time from a place of love, from a place of service. At the highest level of man's development, he works from selfless service, and at that level the service is the reward, because the service connects you to bliss. Before we can do that, before we can start to work with the divine economy, before we can start to access the divine economy, of course we have to know who it is that's doing it. Because every book you ever read and every seminar you ever go to will say, yeah, this is what you do, and this is the technique, and this is how you work it. But who? And this is who works here. You know, there might be 10 of you in there, there might be 20 of you, there might be 30 personalities. Gurdjieff reckoned there was a legion. You know, hundreds of different personalities. So the guy that's going to start the diet today is not the guy that's going to have to start it tomorrow. The guy that's going to start the training regime today is not the guy that's going to have to start it on Monday morning. You know, the guy that agrees, you know, to be loyal when he gets married is not the guy, you know, 2 days later that gets flirted with by his secretary and has an affair. You know, the girl that you know, is honourable and is going to run a great business and is going to have integrity is not the same girl that fiddles her tax and fiddles her expenses. You know that an MP who you know, who takes on the ultimate position of service doesn't go there intending to be corrupt. The person that takes it on is the person that is going to do that, is going to really help people. The person that fiddles expenses and is dishonest and disloyal and rationalises her dishonesty and her disloyalty is a different personality, it's a different self.